You are about to go live. You can broadcast up to 8 hours. Wow. I'm not going to do that. 8 hours. Oh, my Lord. Actually, I probably could. Talk to Joy, and she'll say, yes, you probably could. All right. So I'm going to be doing these normally at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is now 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the reason is because the internet at this house needed a boost, so we had the cable guy here fixing the cable around the house. But it'll be normally be 10 a.m. on Thursdays. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. New York Eastern Time, and I think it's 6 or 7 p.m. in Europe, and gets later, 8 p.m. Israel, India later, Australia later, so forth. But you can always listen to it a little bit later. All right, awesome. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what's up. We've got a couple of questions you guys posted. I can always do that. But really, we're here for what I'm interested in is sowing a seed, whether we're able to actually, let's talk about that for a second. The Pollyanna spirituality about, oh, we're all going to wake up. It's just not realistic, you know. We want to be hopeful that millions of people can wake up this time, can start doing their own awakening enlightenment. But realistically, 7 billion people on the planet. So we're really in the inception. We're in the beginning stages. The Mayan calendar thing, 2012. I was trying to make sure people understood it's not some magic pill. And it's really the beginning. It's the end of a major cycle on our planet, the bad yuga, and we're going into a better yuga, better, but we're like almost going into between the silver and the golden age, whatever you want to call it. So as far as everybody waking up on the planet is Pollyanna spirituality. Pollyanna spirituality will make you a victim of all kinds of stuff. Like we talked about last time, the Anunnaki. And when psychic beings, powerful psychic beings, take enough truth that you resonate with. You go, oh, yeah, that resonates with me. And then they add the half-truth. That gets you in trouble. You crash the whole thing. So you got to keep it real, keep it grounded. So as far as if we look around the planet right now, the majority of the population, is it 80%? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We don't have to assign numbers. That is not going to wake up. They're not going to be able to deal with free energy. They're not going to be able to deal with that their religions have been archonic, manufactured deceptions, that they're mainly misused. And before you go thinking the grass is greener over there in Buddhist land, or Tibetan land. Oh, the Tibetan rainbow body is going to, it's true. It's true. But there's so much black magic with the Tibetans. There's 80, why do you think they paint all those demons on the walls all the time? Now they're going to say, because you have to overcome them. Yes, true. But even the rainbow body, the techniquing, I'm a voice for innocence. I'm a voice for heart, for what Jeshua said, the real guy, not the Flavian co-opted, religions, Constantine control, etc. But unless you become as little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Don't get turned off. I know scripture is like, oh my God, stop that shit for us, most of us, right? I grew up with none of that, so I don't have any knee-jerk reaction of hatred. The one time I was in a church, I was 11. It's an old Swedish church in a little town called Hällefors, where my grandfather and my dad grew up, a little ironworks place, Swedish steel. I went into that church, and there was nobody else in there, and I could feel as an 11-year-old. They had a little lectern, one of those things that the priest walks up into. No, this is Lutheran. It's not Catholicism. But I could just feel this rage in me. Like, this is bullshit. You're separating people from God, even as an 11-year-old. But when Joshua says that, when Jesus says that, unless you become as little children, that's what I'm advocating. The only safe zone, what I mean by little children, is wise as serpents and still gentle as doves. Uncle, the emperor, is fat, smelly, stinky, hairy, grotesque, disgusting, and he's not wearing any clothes. That level of what it takes of an innocent perception, beginner's mind, to actually, the hypnotized people are all the townspeople in that powerful Hans Christian Andersen, I think it is, right? Not Brothers Grimm, I'm pretty sure. Hans Christian Andersen, the emperor has no fucking clue. Never mind no clothes. And just to refresh you, basically, it's such a good allegory story. What happens is, the tailor, the gay freaking designer from New York, the tailor at the time, I'm joking, you know, everyone has its place. I'm not homophobic. My sister's gay. I love it. You know, it's all good. It's actually really good what's happening. We don't want to go overboard, the LGBT thing. We gotta, there's a place of not pushing agendas, allowing everyone their expression, but don't push any of your agenda on anybody else. Anyway, so the tailor shows up for the king. The tailor has fucked up. His assistants have not brought all the fine linens, all the gorgeous linens from France or whatever it is, right? And so the tailor just has a momentary like, I'll just lie. I'll just make shit up like we all do. We teach our kids when they're in kindergarten, first grade, Johnny, what's the answer to the question? And Johnny's like, I don't know. But I can't say I don't know because not knowing makes you look really bad. So we program our kids that it's better just to lie, make stuff up, than to admit, no, I don't know. We've taught somehow that ignorance is really bad. That word is, you ignorant, you know, you're ignorant. That is like a pejorative. It's like, you know, super put down. It is not. I was going to do a video. I still have it loaded somewhere. I don't know if I'll get to it on YouTube, but God is ignorant, just to catch people's attention. Why? And then later, a guy I actually like in India named Sadhguru made a video a couple of weeks later. It said, Shiva is ignorant. Now he's talking to people that are into Shiva, but the same shock effect. God is ignorant. Ignorance just means not knowing. Ignorance. Gnosis, the early Gnostics, right? The knowers. There's Jesus doing his thing, his secret teachings with the inner circles, the inner cycles of the disciples and so forth, which included women, of course. Teaching the secret rituals, the tantra, the esoteric raising of the churches, which is just alluded to in the book of Revelation, the 7 churches, right? What are those? The 7 stars. It's your chakras. Duh. The 7 seals, your chakras opening up. It's just allegorical. But the Gnostics knew this stuff. They were the knowers, the Gnostics. They knew. They were not agnostic. Agnostic simply means I don't know. We've made it wrong to not know. So we have this ego fear of, I don't know, I'll just lie and make shit up. Because if I admit that I don't know, I look very, very bad. So one of the things, innocence is in the beginner's mind, is in the blank slate, is in the Zen mind, but with heart. The difference with Zen mind and innocence is that innocence is Zen mind with heart, with love. Zen can be very cold. So if I'm an advocate of anything, it is return to innocence. But wise innocence. There's a difference. Now I'm going to freak some people out if they're watching this for the first time. There are real masters. Jesus is one of them. I've met him 3 times, full on, face to face. Not physical, but almost physical one time. Like he literally started materializing. Now this sounds crazy. Believe you me, I grew up in Sweden, a scientific household, super modern. Like my dad was a physicist, my mom was an artist. There was never went to church, no spirituality, nothing. I was an agnostic. I was not even that. It wasn't even on the radar. So I know this sounds crazy. you know, you met with Jesus, you crazy. You know, next you're talking to spirits and hearing voices. Yeah, I do that too. Right. But if you're smart enough, you don't tell the wrong people, and you don't tell them until you can, until you have enough of a base with other people that understand what you're going through. If you're going through a spiritual emergence right now, I'm doing this random access for your bodies, by the way. So I'm going to jump topics. This is random access memory reaching around your, I'm not going to stay linear with you. Yes, I'll get back to the emperor has no freaking clue and has no clothes. So innocence is what helps that young boy in that story. So the tailor comes in and says, I'll just make stuff up because we forgot the clothes. I'm going to look really bad in front of the king, the authority, the boss, your dad, others. Fear of disapproval is one of the biggest fears in humans at this point. To have the courage to say, I don't know. God is ignorant. So why is God God? Because source God is God, because it is willing to be ignorant, not knowing, willing not to know. A smart boss, a smart person running an organization, she would go in and go, what do we got? Okay, I don't know. Tell me, what are we doing here? What's the thing? Oh, I don't know about that. What do you think? What do you think? And then she'll feel intuitively what's the right way to go. That's a confident, smart person leader. Someone who needs to always be right and go, no, I got a better way. That's weak. Having to know or think they know is a sign of a very weak identity, a non-confident identity. So it takes the little innocent boy, the whole kingdom gets hypnotized by the tailor. The tailor tells the king, oh, look at this from Paris, your majesty, the finest brocade and the linens. And the king is even affected by it. He doesn't see anything, but he doesn't have the guts to go, hey, you're just lying. You're just, there's nothing here. You're just making stuff up. He goes, oh, I don't want to look bad in front of my courtiers and my advisors. Oh, yes, that's a beautiful linen. So the whole kingdom gets hypnotized from the top down. Sound familiar? The whole planet or our country or any other country is hypnotized by their culture, by their leaders, their scientists, their priests, their politicians, their lawyers, right? Their doctors. That's exactly where we're at now. We've been hypnotized by authorities and leaders that really are backwards. It's getting obviously totally clear if you look around you. Medicine, total fail. Diseases getting worse. If you judge things by results, right, by their fruits you shall know, by the results, medicine, total fail, complete fail. Diseases going through the roof, autism, diseases, just total fail. Politics, obviously, total fail. Are we having more leisure time, more abundance? Obviously, no. It's going horrible. What? Pick anything. Laws, lawyers, anything. It's all going to spirituality, horrible. It's been fractured. Instead of something bringing people together, it's continual dividing and conquer. So it's all gone horribly wrong by following these authorities, the kings, the advisors. Finally, they parade the fucking king naked because they've all been hypnotizing themselves. One of the early teachers that I worked with, one of his teachers used to tell him, said, when it gets closer to the shift, the separation of the timelines, or however it's going to play out, and we don't know when. Is it now, in 5 years, 2 years, tomorrow, this July? We don't know. Or is it 700 years from now? That's not for us to know until you're at a level where you won't tell, until you should tell. Well, this teacher used to say, towards the end, as the shift gets closer, people will be going insane. But they will all be going insane together. So they won't notice. Look around. It's nuts. I mean, I'm frankly surprised that we don't have more mass shootings, from so many people on pharmaceutical drugs that we don't have people just freaking out every day. I mean, literally just flipping, blacking out. It's by grace that the whole shit house has not exploded at this point. I like quoting Jim Morrison, from stage, where he says, yeah, I'm going to get my kicks before the whole shit house explodes, right? It's really by grace that we haven't had total meltdown at this point. But at some point, it's got to give. So finally, it takes the young little boy holding his daddy's hand as the king is doing his parade, parading his ass around, naked. And all the people are hypnotized by those in authority above them. Oh, can you see how beautiful his dress is? Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. What do you notice? Oh, do you like the blue or the red? Hoping there is at least some of that. Oh, I like the red part. People are hypnotizing themselves. That's exactly what's going on with us right now. Television, politics distraction, even the part of fighting the cabals, the globalists. Even that can become a distraction from you actually healing yourself, which is the most powerful thing to do. So finally, the little boy of innocent perception. We call these fairy tales, don't we? Or more morality tales. Spirit tries to get to kids before they've been polluted. All through Disney, some of the Disney stuff is really good, coming out about heart, about being true, about following your dreams, or the ants, the one about the ants and the grasshoppers, about the collective being owned and ruled by a few grasshoppers. So often Spirit's trying to reach kids early on, before they're dead, before they've been completely programmed and they're already dead. So finally the little boy points out to his dad, Daddy, look, the emperor has no clothes. And that breaks the spell. That breaks the spell. So no matter how fancy your spirituality gets, and I'm speaking from experience, lifetimes of cave yoga, I mean, just sadhu yoga, my one bowl, my sadhana blanket or tiger skin, which they used to do traditionally. Himalayan yogi. Yep, it's me. And even all these things, the Tibetan teachings about the rainbow body, which are now becoming popular and so forth. It's true. Techniquism works. You can do the yoga releasing of the chakras. You can dissociate yourself from the body. You can turn the spirit light on in the body to the point where it almost burns the body up. See, when the Tibetans do the rainbow body, they leave behind. Padmasambhava did not. Jesus did not. Krishna did not. The real masters have all the techniques as well as the innocence. Wise as serpents, but gentle as doves. They have that extra ingredient that the Luciferian principle. Now, I'm not talking about Lucifer himself. That's up for debate. But the principle of rebellion away from that which is organic and natural and spontaneous and direct. Direct contact with source. If there's anything between you and source, that's a gap where all kinds of shit can get created. If there's anything that you cannot drive the car if the plates, if you're having a stick shift, the plate's got to touch. If you put the clutch in, you ain't going nowhere. If you put the clutch in, if you clutch for other things besides direct contact, you're not going anywhere. You can create eons of timelines off into other artificial timelines, which is exactly what we're doing, like the AI, artificial intelligence, which goes across the galaxy, right? It's never worked. It's always a dead end. But there's free will, so we're allowed to try it. So Earth has to face that as well. The people on Earth have to face the seduction of cyborgism and artificial intelligence. And that's why that's happening as well right now also. The Galactic Federation of Light is mostly BS. It's a Anunnaki. Most of that stuff, most of the channeled stuff. See, there's real stuff like the White Brotherhood, the Galactic Federation, What's the other one they call it? Ashtar Command. That one's so fucking obviously bullshit. And I'm just being direct. Okay. Now, is the real thing available? Yes. There's real stuff. There's real ETs that are and masters. Like Hilarion was St. Anthony on earth. He's a real ascended master as well. So you got to learn to discern. There's always the mimicking. Because of free will, you can have the real guru and you can have the counterfeit guru. You can have the real Galactic Federation, which exists, and you can have the fake one. It's the favorite thing of the mimicking ego and those people that have chosen to feed off of other people. Like one thing that gives it away. You need to call me Lord Sananda. I am the Lord of the Ashtar Command. Anyone that needs that shit, it's obviously ego-based. The real masters don't even want that stuff. They don't need to be worshipped. Praise the Lord. What does the God need praise for? God doesn't want praise. It's like if you had, God wants contact. It's like if you have children, you don't want your kids to come up to you trembling in fear and going, oh, praise you, daddy, praise you, mommy, but they're really scared. That's an insecure God. A real parent, like when you have kids, you don't want your kids to fear you. Occasionally, when they're fucking up. But you know what I'm saying? You want your kids to be able to come to you safely, like that beautiful picture you've heard me talk about in videos maybe, where President Kennedy's in the Oval Office and John, probably still in diapers or whatever he is, 2 or 3, maybe, you know, he's sitting under the desk. Why? Because daddy loves him. He's not punishing John and go, get out of my office. You must make an appointment. No. The baby, the son, has an all-access backstage pass at the White House, at the Galactic Center. These are just holograms and large and small mimicking, you know. Yeah. So most of that, like I'm saying before, if you have a wish, wishing and hoping and praying and not wanting to look at the dark stuff, right? If you're doing that, you're going to get the fake Ashtar Command. You're going to get the fake Galactic Federation. If you put in the clutch, you're going to get the people get hypnotized. Of course, that happens in spiritual circles. Totally, all the time. Most of it. Most gurus, most teachers, most of it is they put in the clutch and something slipped in between and it becomes fake. You're wanting them to do it for you. Teachers and coaches, like if you need to learn to swim, yeah, or if your kids need to go swim, you send them to somebody that's a recommended swim coach. There you go. Cool. They're not meant to worship the swim coach. They're just going to learn to swim from him or her. Same with you. Jesus wants to be your swim coach. Babaji wants to be your swim coach. You know, Yogananda, Mataji, Mother Mary. Ayahuasca doesn't want followers. Pele doesn't want followers. St. Teresa doesn't want followers. I'm not talking about the one in India. I'm talking about the real one, the real mystic, Avila, St. Teresa of Avila. They want you to vibrate with what they want to share with you. Hey, let me teach you to swim. They get a kick out of it. They love it, you know? So yes, most of the deception. So then when the little boy finally speaks up and says, Daddy, the emperor has no clue, right? The whole thing just falls. Everyone goes, oh, they wake up from the spell. Right now, there's still giant spells on top of the earth. The vast majority of people, they don't see the nature kingdoms. When I was just in Ireland, and I didn't either for a long time, but there's a certain point when it reveals itself and you start noticing things out of the corner of your eye. I got spirit cats in this house a lot lately, which I'm not so sure I like at the moment. We've got 2 kittens we rescued, and I think they brought some of their family with them. We see them all the time, and they're not there. When I was in Ireland just now, the first morning when I woke up from jet lag, I walked outside. There was a little elf, fairy, about 12 inches tall. And I just see them as lights, but my mind gets the clear picture. These are natural talents that every human has. Every human, not every, but 98% of the humans have. There's a few total cyborgs on the planet that can't do that, don't have the potential. So breaking the spell on earth, if enough of us do that innocent perception and say, Uncle, the emperor has no clothes. Now, first you're going to piss people off. You run the risk of them all turning on you, the whole crowd. Shh, don't say that, Johnny. I'm sorry. I don't know where he got that from. Please don't murder us, Mr. King. Right? Yeah, there's some of that going on. And or ridiculed, shouted down by your own well-meaning people and family. But there's no defense against conscious innocence. The ego mind, the Luciferian rebellion, has no defense against that. The one thing that the artificial intelligence energies around the galaxy, I'm trying not how to say it, archons, beings that have served denial, that serve deception and denial and feed on other beings. The one thing they do not have access to is innocent heart, spontaneous heart. But there's a difference. Each lifetime, Jesus explained this to me. He said, look, you're born each lifetime, most of you. There's some of you are so polluted, you never have it. But most humans are still born with a measure of innocence as children. That's why we love kids. But then that gets destroyed. Schooling, church, programming, whatever, fear, whatever, parents that don't know better, so forth, teachers. And then you have the choice then. You have to be willing to rebirth yourself. That's the second birth. Jesus got that whole idea from the Egyptian teachings. The second birth in the pyramid, being born again. Moses did that. So it's not new, the second birth. The second birth is the awakening birth. It's what Eckhart Tolle talks about. All of a sudden, my personality was wiped out and I became brand new again. Paul talks about I die daily. So this is the eternal refresher. But this time, in the new innocence, you're also wise. You've seen the deception. You know the shortcomings. You know, quote, evil. You know how people get seduced by power, fear, terror, wanting to look good, afraid of looking bad. You know how all that stuff works. And so when you get betrayed by those that claim to love you, you no longer hold it against them. Forgive them, for they have no clue what they're doing. They don't know yet. They're not vested. They're not strong enough in their own spirit yet. And so you start being unaffected by it. So the one thing that's actually going to undo it all, because no matter how, see if you fight it and go, oh, we're going to bring in the Ashtar Command and Galactic Federation, they're not going to do it for you. First of all, that's a deception thing by the Anunnaki. They literally want to just take you off the planet because they want this planet. And they've misused that through time travel. They've gone back in time and implanted some of the stories. You can feel it, though. You can feel it. Whenever I would feel Zechariah Sitchin, I was like, there's not an innocence there. There's not a playfulness. Can your guru get the fuck on the lawn, play with a golden retriever, laugh for no reason, authentically? You can't fake this one. See, the Dalai Lama might be well at, ha, 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 that's so funny. Is he really innocent? Feel it. See, Yogananda is really innocent. Jesus is really innocent. If they're missing the wise innocence, the spontaneous renewal, the constant rebirth, they are not in contact with Source. There's still a gap. There's some machinations of the mind. Looking good, having the right teachings, trying to solve the final puzzle, having the right formulas. That's all mind. The mind gets seduced. Let's build CERN, CERN, the linear accelerator. I know enough about it because my dad was a physicist. He was totally into all that stuff. But it's creepy, and the collective knows that. We're fucking with dimensions. We're fucking with artificially opening dimensions to things that we don't know what we're playing with. It's what happened on Atlantis. We opened dimensions. The scientists, priests at the time, opened dimensions they didn't know what they were playing with. And all these entities came in and literally sort of sought bodies. And at the end of the Atlantean thing, people were literally flipping out. We're getting very close to that right now, mass flipping out. And there's certain agencies that are interested in having mass rioting and people just flipping out and starting to eat, kill, murder, destroy each other because they thrive on chaos. Yeah. How do you connect to Jesus and Shiva, the real ones? What you want in your heart, what you really, really want, I'll tell you what you really, really want. What you really, really want is what you're going to get. If you want to figure it out, oh, I know. I figured it out. Oh, yeah, I know all the theories of the 444. Our school has more dimensions than you. See, there's not just 12, seven dimensions. There's 12. No. We have 144,000 dimensions in my guru's revelation. See, that shit is just ego garbage. If you want ego garbage, i.e. feeling superior or that you know something more than someone else, you will get that. And you'll get God mimickers. God mimickers. Beings, discarnate spirits, usually in the fourth astral dimension, that don't want to open their hearts. They don't want to get real. They don't want to do a real life review. They don't want to do a real recapitulation. They don't want to do Ho'oponopono. They don't want to say, let me see that part of myself. Yep. They don't want to repent, the old word. Recapitulation, Don Juan's word, which means you go back through your timelines and see where you fucked up. Yeah, I did that. I knew I didn't really want to do that, but I was afraid of looking stupid and I did that. Or I was afraid of, I don't want to speak up. Or I didn't know when to keep my mouth shut or whatever. Yeah. So the real solution is, what do you want? Do you want real God connection from your heart? Then the real guys show up. Then the real Jesus shows up. But if you want some organized religion that makes you feel willowy, pillowy, cloudy, safe in our belief system, then you get the fake Jesus. Then you get what one of my friends said a few years ago when his grandfather was dying. Him and his wife were in there. And he actually helped him die and gave him an image of, Dad, get on the train. You used to love the trains coming. Whatever imagery the angels need to use when you're actually doing your dying process is what they'll give you, whatever you're familiar with. But before his grandfather died, his grandfather said, we did do the right thing, didn't we? They were a part of a particular religion, a particular Christian sect, and he still had doubt. It's not the end of the world. But so if you still want to be right or comforted by the herd, right? It's a great story in India of, so the short answer is, when you're real, the universe will get real with you. When you want the real thing, I want the real thing. I'm sick of the false. I'm sick of the mimicking, the memorex, the deception, the image. I want the real thing. Now, usually when you pull that ripcord, usually when you pull the pin on that grenade, as you know, Mark, that you usually say, stop telling me that stuff. I see your comment, Mark. The real shit's going to go down. My last experience with Jesus, he's real. He'll come to you. The real guy, though, it's not going to be, and it's hard because we're so programmed with, I had a woman recently on my sex, I have a video about sex and spirituality. And she's like, you're saying Jesus had sex? And I said, why don't you ask him directly? And she said, immediately she goes, well, I'm sure he would say he didn't. Did you even stop for a moment to actually ask, or did you instantly go into your programming? How can real God get in there if it's you, your programming knows everything? That's why God is ignorant. That's why Shiva is ignorant. That's why you should be ignorant, meaning being willing. I don't know. I don't know. How can you got to make room. Oh, I know all about this. God can't get in there. I don't know. Make room. I don't know. Show me. I'm willing to hear. I'm willing to see. I want the real thing. Feel that in your body. If you do, don't do it too soon. This is not an easy journey. Going from the unreal to the real, well, there's some shocks to the system. It is no respecter of any of your made-up beliefs, any of your culture. It doesn't respect your body. It doesn't respect any of you, your identity. It respects your soul. The universe respects your soul, is your soul. But that's why God is no respecter of persons. I'm using some of this Christian stuff because that's been so programmed into the Western culture. All that means is it's not respecting your ego bullshit. Your soul doesn't respect that. So if you're in your ego bullshit, you're going to be in pain. I don't want this. I have to face stuff I don't look at. It's painful. Humbling, humiliating. There's no accident that those two words are related. Humiliation and humbling, right? Means to bring low, to settle your ego down, or your personality that knows I know everything. You know, that is the weakest place ever. I don't know is strength. I don't know about that. Let me hear what have you found? Trust yourself enough. So the reason God can be God is because God's willing to be ignorant. God can go up to a new space and be confident enough in himself, in herself. Gee, I don't know what'll happen here, but I trust it enough that it'll be interesting. That's faith, trust in yourself. I can face the unknown without needing to figure it out. Hey, Bob, can you make me a survey and get me the bottom line and give me a briefing on what that's all about? And that's like President Nixon. Okay, Haldeman, what are these guys like? If you listen to those tapes, they're horrible. They're just we try to reduce people into categories and, they're just dirty hippies. Okay, fine. Oh, they're good people, you know. That's all just mental labeling. So if you want to connect to the real Jesus and Shiva, they are real beings. Now, I spent 30 years, going, okay, saying no to some seductions in my life, big money, some jobs. My friends now are worth hundreds of millions of dollars and, invited me to join them early on and stuff like that. I didn't break bad, by the way. We just finished watching Breaking Bad. Walt's so angry that he missed out on that corporate thing that he got to make the money through doing meth. You will be tempted. So you have to choose. I want the real thing. It's not God doing it to you. It is you playing with your own ego and your seductions. Do you want the real thing or do you want Memorex? So once you get real with it, the real guys show up. In the meantime, they have no problem with going, there you go. Go join the Ashtar Command cult in the mountains and chant to bring the UFOs down to save the planet and all that shit. UFOs are real. I've had 2 full-time daytime experiences, of course. But once it goes the idea of I'm going to use that to avoid myself or feeling or healing, facing myself, you're off into cult land. Because the mimickers come in. The mimickers came in on Mount Sinai with Moses, by the way. I might have mentioned that last time. Because the people wanted rules, structure, right and wrong. Here comes the mimicking gods. If you can handle ignorance, not knowing, if you can handle new things, if you can let go of your concepts, you get realer God. Otherwise, you get rules to live by. That's okay too. But they're boxes. Cattle are safe, but at the end of the season, they got to get on the truck. Here come the harvest. Why do you think religions like Christianity and Muslims and that stuff talk about harvesting souls? That's what it's about. And there's nothing wrong with that for them. Some people need to be sheeple. For now. Other lifetimes, they'll be ready to go, okay, I'm ready to see the bigger picture. It's one thing Spirit's teaching me, Tobias. You've freaked people out in many lifetimes by you have tried to show it to them too early. And they get very scared. People get very scared in the unknown. They actually start flipping out, Jekyll and Hyde, and they go ballistic. They go fight or flight. They go, I have to kill you. They will actually see stuff that just their own subconscious will come up. If you bring in too much light, too much revelation, too much upliftment, too much expansion, it hurts. It's a beautiful story of a very famous artist, Alex Gray. Tells a sweet story about going to ayahuasca. And in one of the ceremonies, he said, I'm being expanded. I'm in the land of the Buddhas. I'm there with the Buddhas. I'm feeling what Buddha feels. This is awesome. I'm loving the expansion, and I'm becoming one with the planet and all the life forms. And I'm just feeling this loose, beautiful enjoyment and bliss of expansion. And then after a while, that stops. It's like, shh, and then starts the contraction. And he said on the contraction part, as it's starting to contract me, that voice that was, there's a little voice now going, oh, Mr. Buddha, huh? You can't handle the sadness. You can't handle the suffering. You just want the good part. And something about, you didn't even remember to call your wife. You're such a good Buddha. You have to be willing to feel all. If you're talking about oneness, you have to be willing to feel all of it. One of the ceremonies just last time, and I'm not pusher of Aya. When it's right, Aya is the right thing for the right people. It's not the right thing for most people yet at this time on Earth. But for the right people that are here now, they've had enough of this shit. And that can be an adjunct and a help. You don't need it. You can do it through Kundalini Yoga. You can do it through meditation, feeling your inner body. Really recommend that, innerbodyawakening.com as a practical tool. Ancient Shiva technique. So you get real, they'll get real. You stay fake, you get exactly what you want, what you really, really want, not what you think you want, what your subconscious, superconscious, the whole part of you, what it really wants is what you'll get. And Source is so loving and so reflecting, just giving exactly what you want. It just gives you exactly what you want. Do you want to do battle for 100 lifetimes and fight evil other people? There you go. Go for it. Nothing wrong with that. It's just an experience. You want to hang out in mental land for 1,000 lifetimes? Go do that. You want to make fun of mental land and play heart and music and all that stuff and think you're better than everyone? Go do that. But when you want real unity or beyond judgment, then the beings that have done that will come and help you. You get the coaches you want. The universe sends you the exact mentors that you want. Yeah. Somebody had written in a pre-question. So anyway, I want to finish that up with heart. The innocent, wise heart. Wise as serpents. What does that mean? It means you're fucking Kundalini. Right? You can't bullshit a cobra. I can bullshit dogs a little bit. Cats are harder. Cobras, you cannot bullshit at all. Why? Because they are the reptilian, which is, there's good and bad. Are reptilians good or bad? Are humans good or bad? You know, get real. It's not black and white. It's 5 million shades of gray. Okay? Each situation is unique. You need to learn to feel it. So a cobra, you can't bullshit at all. They don't go to the upper cognitive. They don't watch your graphs and your theories. They feel you directly. Now, if you're pure, it's like Daniel in the lion's den. You're cool. There's many stories in the yogic tradition of the cobra coming up and laying his head on the master's feet. And then with Shiva, of course, the Nagas curl, the cobra is around his neck. Why? You've made friends with your own Kundalini, with your own spinal column. What's the first thing that forms on the spinal column? The first is the medulla oblongata, where the life force comes in. That's where snakes play with. How do snakes kill? The suffocating kind. They play with a life force. I had a snake come to me in a vision dream one time and show me that. Beautiful blonde yellow, those boas that have that coloring. And he said, I'm going to teach you something. He said, I'm going to, now just trust me. If you fight me, it's going to hurt. Wrapped around me and basically killed me, or in a sense, stopped my breathing. That's very interesting in yoga too. One of the highest states is when you can stop your breathing. You go breathless. You go into the ecstasy because you're beyond the breath. You're moving into the no time space. But he showed me this is the deepest part of your own self. The first thing that forms on the brain, the deepest thing is the reptilian brain. Now, if you want to fight that like the Pleiadians do, they still fight the reptilians. And I'm not saying that, you know, they're learning that lesson. Read those books by Barbara Marciniak. They try to make light of it. Oh, the Lizzies, you know. Yeah, you've battled them for millions of years across the galaxy. You still haven't integrated your own reptilian self. So if you want a full spectrum human, like masters, and there's many women as well that have done it, you have to accept all parts of yourself. And the trump card is the babe. That's why Krishna is pictured as the baby. That's why Jesus is pictured as the baby. Why? It's the fresh, the renewal. Quincy Jones, the famous music producer, said once about Michael Jackson, these signs are everywhere around you, by the way. If you start asking, show me the realness, it's everywhere. It has to be. The 0 point is everywhere. The quantum potential is in every point of the universe. So wherever you are, at freaking Walmart with all the diseased people and their hover rounds, even there, magic can happen, right? It's everywhere. Just feel that for a second. Feel the concept and the idea that wherever I am, like Joy inadvertently said this the other day in the car. I was saying something about, you know, whatever. And she goes, the love is where we are. And it just went bong in my head. She didn't know she said it. She didn't know what she said for me. The love is where we are. There's nowhere to go, right? So it can appear and happen. It's right there behind the rideau, behind the flimsy curtain of smoky deception, the Maya mitote, the Toltecs call it, or the mitote, the Maya, the illusion is what the Hindus call it. So you start asking for the real thing. Now your mind at first is going to want to attach significance to it. Oh, this is significant. Look at the miracle I created. And then you fuck that up. You'll do that about 1,000 times. And then finally you start going, yeah, I see that miracle. That's a major coincidence. Yeah, I'm feeling all that. But I want more. I want more communion. I want more realness. So we are getting what we want. Now, sometimes it's not a conscious want. We're just programmed around default. We have fallen into the collective programming. So we're just getting the collective programming. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to get this because I promised you guys when you could ask questions ahead of time. Let me see. And if I don't always get to this stuff, it's just because Spirit's saying, no, we need to talk about this. Okay. Money. That's a big topic, Luke, on the money. How do we survive? You know, the whole money system, the evil banksters, you know, all that stuff. There is a way. You have to walk through it. You have to walk through the fucking swamp of it. Really. I had to. You know, I said no to these super jobs that people would, you know, kill for, literally. And said, no, doesn't feel right, all that. But then I had to do humbling jobs. I drove taxis, cars, had a small video business, you know, existed hand to mouth for quite a while. Down to my last $20, sitting in my apartment by myself, you know, just talking honestly with God. and said, I'm not telling anybody. And I was pretty angry at God. You got to work out your realignment. And I was taken care of. Did it look like I wouldn't be at times? Yes. That real walk is very different. I'm not advocating and I'm not condoning suffering. So you get realer with God. When shit gets real, you get realer. You know, you get realer, but you got to listen. So then I would be rescued by my Attila the Hun reincarnated friend, total freaking barbarian. Come, hey, Tobias, you want to drive my cars? I'm like, fuck off. Right? But it was God loving me. He goes, great, you start Saturday, pick up the keys. Right? And I could tell in my spirit, yeah, I got to go do it. And we had fun with it. It'll be mysterious how it works. It'll be very strange. You'll do very strange things. The programmed world will have to recede. So with money, it's a big one. I can point you to the fact that real teachers have no problem with money whatsoever. Yogananda has the premier real estate pieces in all of California. He didn't want money. Osho, look at Osho. He's dripping money. He said, no, just don't put any pockets in my robes. I don't want any money in my name. I don't want any bank accounts, right? Yet they had all his wealth. That's not a problem. Now, to find your way there is a genuine walk that you gotta walk. You cannot conceptualize your way to that place. Your whole system has to be cleaned out. Yeah. Let's see. Having babies. Hi, Tobias. My girlfriend and I, Marius, thank you for asking, are expecting a baby, and we're wondering what you think about when and how a soul enters the fetus. Where does it come from? How does it get here? I know these are kind of silly questions. There's no silly questions, but we're curious as to what you feel about this subject. There's no hard and fast rules. Like some people say at 6 months, the soul is entering the fetus. I think it's a gradual thing. The first 3 months, the soul is not in the fetus, is my sense. But then there's also a gradual thing. People that aren't even landed. I mean, even after you're born, you're not fully in your body. So it's a gradual thing of the soul incarnating. It's not all of a sudden instant. So, I mean, it's even through your young years and teenage years, you're not fully showing up till you're like 29 and a half years old. Then you're starting to finally show up. So it's multi-layered and multi-leveled. You can talk to the soul, Marius. You can ask to say, can we talk to you before you come? If it's appropriate, you will have a dream or some sense of this soul that's wanting to be born with you. You can actually ask for that. Ask to have it in a dream, to talk to them. You can feel it sometimes ahead of time, like what name do they want to be named? I felt it with the dogs. Both Joy and I felt with the two puppies that we had our own puppies, that we kept one from each litter. I felt it. I could feel Gabby. I kept calling this woman. We were doing a Course of Awakening in Nevada. Her name was not Gabby. I kept calling her Gabby. I go, why do I want to call you Gabby? Gabriella. I kept calling her Gabriella. And I go, that's the puppy coming. And that's her name now, Gabby. And the other one, both Joy and I got it at the same time. She said, I'd been gone for a while, and it just came in because that spirit wanted to come in. Dogs are sort of halfway between human and dogs. They have a choice. Dogs are animal spirits that are ready to think about upgrading to the human experience. And some of them are like, no, like Bentley right here. He does not want to upgrade. I've talked to him. He's like, nah, I'll think about it. That's Bentley, the daddy. He's about 8 years old. I've talked to him about, do you want to be human next time? And he's like, I'll think about it. But Gabby, she's into it. She's like, yes, I want to go to the prom, the little girl spirit that we have. And the other one, Allie, we both got it at the same time. I had been gone for a couple of weeks. And I said, I think I got the new name. And she said, yeah, I had gotten Allison, and she got Allie. She said, Allie. And I said, Allison. We both got the same name. So it can be really fun, even with dogs. So with humans, you can ask, and you may not get it, but you can ask, let me have a dream and meet you in the dream. You know, you can do that. So it can be really, really fun, a really, really beautiful experience to have baby, you know? Yeah. The Mandela effect. There is truth to the Mandela effect. Some of it is just misremembering, you know, because we draw conclusions. We, just like you complete sentences. Have you ever seen those things where the words are scrambled and you misread it, or you skip the and, like you just conclude things ahead of time, like you draw a conclusion? Some of the Mandela effect is that. Again, learn to discern the real from the not. The other part of the Mandela effect is real. You're gonna have to tell which is which and which is people manufacturing stuff. Like there was one. Yeah, they're doing depends. Okay, like those diapers, adult diapers. That one they were just making up. But there's others that are pretty. The original Mandela, yeah, there's been different timelines, definitely different timelines. So this is a beginning, a seeding into those that are ready to go, oh, to get ready to be able to shift timelines. The majority of people will not notice when the timeline shifts. It's too scary. Those of you who are wanting to notice as the big timeline shifts come, the free energy Earth and the Mad Max Earth, okay? Like the full-on Armageddon, destruction, radiation, nuclear problems versus the free energy and no locks on the doors, no need for money. These things, some of us are going to notice that. The majority of people on either timeline, and there's other ones, aren't going to notice. They're going to, their past will just fall into place to justify their present. Feel what I just said. The past, for the when you're unconscious, falls into place. You actually have a whole new set of memories that justify your present. But the Mandela effect is actually really cool because it is sowing the seed of the possibility to start to be able to straddle multiple timelines, or to realize that that's going on. Masters know this. They can just feel, okay, here's, they can see all the timelines. And they're just like, okay, I need to go in here to do something. I'm going to tweak something in that timeline. Then I'm coming here and so forth, you know. So being locked into one linear timeline is what the Mandela effect is helping to break open. The fact that now some people are going to freak out. Ashley, if you listen to this, or other people, don't freak out about this stuff. Just watch and observe. You're going to be a little freaked when you realize, oh my God, I freaking saw a gnome, or I had a spirit come visit me, or, you know, I realized that this partner I'm with, I saw their other form, or, oh my God, or yes, multiple timelines. Some of it will be scary. So some of the Mandela effect is BS. Some of it are, oh yeah, look at all these examples, and we're making stuff up. And it's just a misremembering, right? Others are the real thing. And you have to learn to discern the difference. But the larger thing, in my opinion, with the Mandela effect is that it's sowing a seed for those of us that are going to want to start realizing, being aware of multiple timelines, which is a part of a real awakening into a larger part of ourselves, is actually being aware of multiple timelines. You know, this is where you have time travelers, reality, parallel life time travelers. Most of us on the earth, the current shutdown spell on earth has been to just make that crazy, you know, and just shut that off. You know, most people don't remember. It's an example here of someone, a teacher that I knew. He was an awakened American teacher, and he would be able to bring the Venusians, you know, which are real, you know, and there's different time frames there. The raw people, the blue sphere alliance, and there's the physical people as well. See, there's multiple timelines across the the whole solar system and the galaxy. So there's these multiple existences going on, and learning to navigate that is too much for most people. People can't handle spiritual experiences. A lot of people just go schizophrenic. So to start handling multiple timelines, it has to be gradual. It has to be gradual, to meet yourself. A good friend of mine, teacher of mine, not just within a mile of here, going walking out in the mountains, told me one day, he said, I met my other self. He was across the valley. We actually decided to connect. I could see him, he could see me. He's in a different timeline. So you're also going to start noticing, I've had one conscious experience of realizing being in two places at once, a conscious experience. Now we're doing it all the time as souls, but I've had one conscious experience in bed at night in Sedona one night. I'm on another planet. I've got 2 kids. I got a wife, some kind of hover car, like a futuristic car. It was like very angular house. And I woke Joy up. I kind of said, I want to ground this experience. I'm in this other place at the same time as I'm in bed in Sedona. And I kept going for about 5 minutes. Now that was an intimation for me, a hint, a preparation. The Mandela effect is a little bit of a preparation for those that want it. Those that don't want it are just going, that's crazy, that's stupid. Of course, it was always the Berenstain Bears. I don't remember that. Sex in the City. Of course it was, Sex in the City, whatever. And so you can tell, so you're being prepped. It's like a loosening of the rigid linear time. So that's helping us actually do that. And if it's on your radar, that means you're wanting that. I awoke to a large basketball, pink opalescent orb, floating above me in broad daylight. It had a winged entity in the center that was emitting light. There's so many entities of all kinds of stuff, and our mind tries to classify. You want to be just in the moment when these things happen. You want to get the knowing and not try to classify it. There's 7 types of angels and all that. You want to just feel it and be it and absorb it as much as, and then be careful with the wanting to classify it and understand it. Just say, be grateful. I saw one in the bathroom earlier today. It was an orange, very strong orange light, about 2-3 feet tall. All of them are there for a reason, for a long while, and I still do at times. I see the dark beings. They're a black light, about the size of a grapefruit, and they'll come on, and there's no light, but there's like a black thing. Now, most of our programming will go, oh, that's evil, that's bad, you got to stay away from them. It's like that movie, Ghost with Patrick Swayze. They're going to steal you and suck you into the underworld. No, not necessarily. Again, part of the real awakening is you have to know the whole spectrum. One of the most powerful experiences I had during my Dark Night of the Soul experiences for me was to encounter, quote, these dark masters, the hollow robes, I called them. And I asked them, it's in my book also, if you want to read about it, the no names. I asked them one time, well, who are you guys? And they said, well, we don't do names. We're just sort of frequencies and beings. And one of them that helped me sitting in my apartment there for a while, going through, a deep awakening about 20 years ago, showed up. And at first I was a little scared, going, God, you're dark. It's scaring me. And he said, just feel me. And I said, oh my God, you feel incredibly peaceful. His name was Nahala, the nothing. You could see him as a, black skin and a tail, exactly like the devil we would create, right? But he was very peaceful and beautiful and gentle. It's like the pit bulls. We can make them look evil and scare people, but they're really sweetie pies. They're like gargoyle protectors, griffins, So learning to discern the energies is a huge part of this as well. So be grateful when you hear the noises coming into the side of your head or the energies touching you. Just notice it. The safety valve is always a full a conscious breath. Put your attention in your heart, your solar plexus, and go, how does this feel to me? Your gut and your heart, your gut and your heart. How does this feel to me? That feels good. That one feels creepy. I don't want any part of that. You have to learn to have your own preferences, your own discernment, learning to discern. The good and bad depends on who we are and what we're interested in, you know, different phases of our soul's journeys. Can I be a cat next time? Sure. You want to hear a cat reincarnation story? True one? I love this one. We used to have a cat named Julius. Pure white Himalayan Persian mix. Like his face isn't totally pushed in, but a little bit, and he's very fluffy. Fun, playful, crazy. It's like kamikaze male cat. Just, you know, just wonderful. I was just growing up. And now I'm in Europe for a year. Julius gets run over. My parents don't tell me. I come home early, surprise them. And it's like, there's Julius, but now he has white and tan spots on him. He looks exactly like him, but he's changed color. And I go, what happened? My mom goes, well, we don't want to tell you, but he got run over by a car, Julius. And then 6 weeks after that, we found kittens advertised that were Persian Himalayan mix. And I went over there, and one of them is him. This was him. It felt like he was the one who wanted to come home with us. And my dad, being Mr. Super Scientist, one morning I can see him. This cat was Julius who came back. It was the same thing. Had weird personality traits. Would do the same things and go roll, go pee in the same places, go outside, do the same thing. And he had this peculiar thing. When my dad used to cook breakfast, he would lay on his feet, my dad's feet, especially just in front of the stove for some reason. One morning, my dad's there, being Mr. Nuclear Physicist, and I can hear him go out loud. He says it, and I'm just coming around the corner. He goes, but this is the same cat. Right? He knew. My dad had to admit, it's the same cat. I don't know how it works, but it's the same cat. Absolutely. I'm not going to answer your Queen Elizabeth question. She's playing a role, and there's truth to the whole. There's truth to the whole being controlled and run by off-world archons, some of them reptilian. Yes, I agree with that. The Emperor has no tranny. That's true. My favorite magic power that God has reawakened in me is my intuition, my bullshit detector. That I can feel. That's mimicky. That's deception. That's the one I like. That I can feel people. I don't judge them. The not judging is what gives you access, like I said last time. But when I meet people, you basically put your attention, you're listening, you're noticing, feeling, but you also put your attention on your inner radar, like your heart again and your solar plexus. You put it there and go, show me what's and who this person is. Now you'll be able to see more and allowed to see more, in a sense, the less you judge people. Then you can feel what they do and when they think no one's watching. And you don't always get the details. We shouldn't really be prying on others, so we don't. But you're allowed to see, just like God's allowed to see all of it in every quanta of energy. As you become more and more like God, you're going to be allowed to see everything about everybody else as well, because you don't judge them. You love them. So you're holding them in the free will space. So my favorite thing is that, thank you, God, and let me please retain it. Don't let me lose it. That most of the time, I'm not perfect at this. Sometimes, by the way, we deceive ourselves. Like, to not protect ourselves all the time, we will allow stuff to get past our radar detector so that it can trigger us. So sometimes your soul steps in and goes, no, you're not allowed to see that, because you need to go through this experience, because there's a shit you're hiding in your belly that you really need to feel, and we're going to get you triggered, right? Relationships are mostly like this, right? You're completely seduced and mesmerized into the relationship, so you can trigger the hell out of each other, and feel all that pain, right? Yeah. I'm looking at some of your questions here. Naturally having your heart spread. Like today, I was feeling super heart, love for the planet. Any forcing and pushing, it's like trying to force a relationship, right? It's trying to force someone to love you. I'm doing all this for you. You should love me. And it's like, ugh, get off of me, right? Well, any kind of spiritual forcing yourself is also the universe goes, ugh, get off of me, ugh, right? We know that. You don't want some clingy freaking, I promise to love you forever and ever. Can I buy you flowers? You women are going to go, ugh, get off of me. And men too, if you're so clingy, you know, the woman's too clingy. Clinginess is not a God quality, okay? Freedom and allowing is a God quality. Yeah. I forgot what the original question was. Oh, so when you're pouring natural heart, when your heart wants to love the world, love the world. When your heart wants to swear and scream at how fucked up things are, do that. Be natural with it. Get the flow going. The book I'm working on right now, Get Real to Heal, is I'm going to come at 20 different ways about just getting it through our collective for those that are ready to hear it and want to hear it, that it's okay to flow. It's okay to flow, you know. Might happen here at some points on these things, you know. Usually on my seminars, usually at some point spirit comes in just to likes to fucking torture me, gets me to cry like in front of everybody, right? And I'm like, God dang it, right? But I've learned to say, whatever, you know. And I don't do so much rage. Rage is tougher in public. I used to do it in public on my own personal thing, but raging, I've had a few seminars where people have kind of flipped out on me a little bit and they're monsters coming at me. You know, it's normal. It's a good example of how that happens, you know, to allow that stuff. But we're still so self-judgmental on rage, you know. Rage and terror are two flip of the same coin. So we have a war on terror, right? Collectively, because we so hate our own rage and terror. We are so unaccepting of it. And therefore the potential, that's the whole red energy of the Arab worlds. There's a lot of red chakra energy in the Arab worlds. Now I know it's a lot of shenanigans by the CIA and they're setting up fake ISIL and all that stuff. I agree. But there's also red energy there that's super passionate. We're not all the same as human beings. Finnish people are blue and white light people. The Arabs are more red and black energy. And this is not, one's not better than the other. You need all of them for the rainbow. The true rainbow tribe is going to come from all parts of the human experiment. And that's what we're working on here. It's a bit of a struggle at the moment to be able to accept these different colors, these different parts of us. But that's going to be part of the full spectrum human, right? We're going to feel our black chakra. That's what Nahala taught me. He hung out with me. He's still around if I call on him. Great guy. He's a master, but he prefers to enjoy the black, the void. You could see how they could have a point. The void is mostly what the universe is, empty space, dark black space. So all you light worshippers, they're teasing me, right? Going, you're just scared of the dark. You need to embrace all of it. Shiva's both. Jesus is both. Jesus's public image is not the whole story. You know, we're very scared of emptiness, of nothing, which is really the void being full. We're so scared of the void, we're scared of women. We're scared of the womb because we don't understand it. So in America, we have the leading hysterectomizer in the world. Just rip that womb out because it's mysterious and it scares us. You know, it's insane. We have to fill every minute all the time with doing this. And what's going on? Why is it so quiet? You know, what's going on? Keep the party going. I don't want any quiet. Just blaring freaking craziness because we want to fill it up with what? a tempest in a teacup. It's a whole bunch of nothing. We're mostly afraid of nothing, no thing. Yeah, and we're going to have to balance this if we want a sane society, you know. I'm still figuring out which way the questions come in the top or the bottom. There we go. I think I figured it out. Yeah, so just being in it, we need to access the void. The pregnant point in the void, the ancient Vedas talk about that, i.e. the point in space-time before there was space-time. If we're not comfortable with that, you can't ever get comfortable. You have to be comfortable with the mysterious, that which created light. That's the dark womb. That's why often mother, now she can't get arrogant about it. See, if you women get all arrogant about, well, we're the womb. We came before you light boys. Then you're, anytime the ego creeps in there, it turns to shit. It's the interplay. And besides, men and women have both of those energies inside them. The true LBGT is the fact that you're a fucking ambidextrous, joking, amphibian soul, right? The true LBGT is that you choose what to experience. Is the G there for God? No, that would freak him out. Yeah, so we're all those things and learning to feel them and accept them. So we have to accept the void, activity, lightning, sun going. Feel the sun. It's just like a boiling freaking, it's a boiling star. Thousands and trillions of suns, boiling stars. But still, they are the little pinpricks in the void. You are mostly the void. Your whole body is mostly nothing. Every atom is 99% nothing and just a little bit of waves of activity, of thoughts and some energy. It takes on the illusionary appearance of this 67% H2O and some carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, some trace minerals. You're nothing. Into the 0 point. There you go. That's what masters do. When they come in, there's certain noises associated with it too. The sound of 1,000 waters. When the atoms are collapsing, they have a certain sound. When they're forming, they have a certain sound. This is real, but God is so loving, is so sweet with us that he, she, it lets us take all the time in the world to remember this. I'm very glad for that. Thank you. I've been freaked out enough in my life, you know? Yeah. Last time one of the masters came to me, he was scaring me. Now, I don't want this to feel like, oh, Tobias is a mystic and all this shit, and I don't have any of that stuff happening. Look, we all have this happening all the time, except we're filtering it out, you know? Start noticing the corner of your eye. When you hear those tones in your ear, go, what's that? You know? Say yes to, I'm willing for the upgrade to happen. Spirit, your own soul will only give you what you're ready to receive. So I don't want to, this is why normally it's been taboo to talk about spiritual stuff. Basically in the Yoga Sutra it says, no talking about the powers and all that shit. And I don't have a lot of powers. I have intuition. I can see some things, I'm still not able to walk on water or materialize shit or move things across the room. I've thought about it. I don't want to get up. I won't tell anyone, God, can you just like slide the phone over here? That stuff will come. It does come. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in our unconscious as well that we're not aware of, It tends to freak our conscious mind out. So like the Mandela effect we talk about, or these things, gradually, it's very loving, going to show you this really is a hologram. And it is possible to affect it with my thoughts and with what I'm believing in, you know, or my conceptions of things. But you have to move into it gradually. And it's not about that. Like Spirit's very strong with me. He said I had a couple out of body experiences, full on. I'm raising out of the body. This happened probably when I was 20 years old. And then I said, okay, that's enough. You're in the body now. You need to figure this out. You're here to do some stuff. That's not about, you know, escaping out of your body and avoiding what you came here to do. You know, the quickest way for real expansion, instead of enlightenment, let's call it expansion. I want to expand into who I really am. And again, this is not easy sometimes. You're going to have some physical shit go on. Whatever your particular buildup is, soul tartar buildup, right? It has to be dealt with by you. And you have a unique, customized program to get rid of the soul tartar buildup in your energetic system, you know. One of the best things to start with, my opinion, is what I do every day is the inner body awakening, is feeling my hands, my feet, my inner energies, my organs, all of it, but actually feeling them. And there's, you know, practice helps it. You learn to ride a bike, you got to do it. You got to learn to sail a sailboat or fly a plane, you can do it, but you got to practice a little bit. Same with the inner body. Once you have a foundation of being able to feel your root chakra, feel your sex chakra, by the way, everything gets a lot better. Yeah, all of it gets really cool. The more you can feel your energies, eating, fucking, all of it's really good, okay? You start having pleasure in your body for no reason. Energy, super fine energies, yeah, it's better than a fallen state. Get real. It becomes ecstasy. I mean, just enjoyment. And Source God does not want you to reject any part of yourself. Your emotions are going to give you pleasure. Right now, they give pain because of buildup, emotional tartar buildup and repressed stuff. Your body's meant to give you pleasure. Right now, we store a bunch of pain in it. And on the awakening path, you're going to have to detox some of it. I've got this thing in my neck going on for about 1.5 years, off and on. I had a bad one 2-3 days ago. And I could feel, I can rush off to my chiropractor, which is great. He's one of the top experts on the Atlas bone and just a really intuitive guy. And Joey goes, well, let's go, you know, doctor, and just take care of it. And I go, no. I need to feel this thing. What is that about? You know, what is sitting in my throat chakra? Now you can make up all kinds of shit about it. Yes, I listen to all scenarios. Oh, Tobias is using his voice. He's about to go do these webinars. Oh, that's all right. That's the mind. Feel deeper. Feel all the scenarios. Don't draw conclusions. Conclusions lock it down. Conclusions collapse the wave. It's all these potential waves in the energy fields. Once you draw a conclusion, it goes, that's the truth. That's just one truth. Careful of conclusions. Do you like to live in a box? Then don't conclude things out. You know, don't make conclusions unconsciously. Yeah, so it may appear, the wise Japanese monk said. So it may appear. So it appears. Appearances is not the full disclosure of full truth. Feel your own spinal column right now. It's a very strange thing that the 1/2 inch of neuron matter, the most sensitive thing in your body, you cannot feel physically, your spinal column, but you can sense it. You put your attention on it. Just notice your brain and your spinal column. Even if it's just conceptual, but just put your attention on it. And feel your breath going up and down your spinal column. It's like you're raising the energy and it's going back down on the out breath. Flower. Down. Out into the ground through your sciatic nerves. I am a tree of life. The human body is a tree of life. That's the branches going up. You're feeding the earth into the heaven. You're downloading heaven on the down breath, the out breath into the earth. I am a tree of life, feeding heaven into earth and earth into heaven. I keep talking about doing the tree of life meditation as a YouTube video. Feel it moving up and down your spine. This does not take any work. It is a simple noticing process. Noticing is no effort. Placing your attention on something takes no effort. Don't do this. The cable guy that came in, the reason I'm doing this at 5 o'clock today is very cute. When you start opening up, there's a Hispanic guy, kind of a nice young guy. I can tell he's, I don't know, he might have little kids and stuff. And he very intuitively goes, "What do you do? Are you a teacher?" And I go, "Yeah." And, "Oh, yeah, I have some clients that are teachers." And he goes, and somehow he ended up asking me to teach him how to do a basic meditation. It can be that fun. The cable guy shows up. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's beautiful. And he fixed it. God, we have awesome internet right now. It was intermittent for a while. So open up to it. So I am the tree of life. My breath is the bilge pump that does itself. Of my own self, I do nothing. Not my will, but thy will. Breathe me, Father, Son, Mother Earth. Commune inside me. This can be done anywhere. You can start having ecstasy everywhere. And it doesn't mean you have to be as calm as I am right now. You can be playing a sport or swimming or, whatever. Yeah. So the real awakening on the planet is when we get enough. We're doing very well. Enough of us that become living trees of life. No, you have all the equipment. You have a nervous system. Even if you're paralyzed, you still have a nervous system. And a miracle could happen. You could get out of bed one day. You have the nervous system. You have the brain. You have the ability to sense. You have the emotions. You have a solar plexus. You have the 7 chakras. You're fully equipped. You're fully equipped to become a god. You have all the parts. You have all, even if some of the parts are missing, it doesn't matter because you have the blueprint. Your soul has the blueprint. Some of them may be clogged. Some chakras have some debris in them and shit. Yeah, they're like fountains. You're going to clean them out. By the way, you can do that physically. You can take your 2 fingers. You can feel for your chakras, like if there's somewhere that needs cleaning. Can I go? These are all belief systems, but they work because they're part of shamanic tradition. You can go counterclockwise down into your chakra and imagine getting a hold. If there's any debris or icky old energies, kind of grab them and then clockwise pull them back out and just set them free into the ethers. You can clean your own chakras. These are all the systems of healing that are made up. It's all made up, but utilize them all. I'm going to the chiropractor because he thinks he knows what he's doing. I let his belief factor help me when I need some relief on that. I'm also looking at, okay, what was that? How many times did I get my head chopped off for telling truth in other lifetimes? Is there some truth to that? Probably. Am I going to buy into that this time? No, I'm going to complete it. So I'm not saying it's all a bed of roses here. You have to, St. Francis had open wounds on his body for most of his life. Not promoting struggleology. I'm not promoting suffering, but it is what it is. Occasionally your body's going to have to clear itself, boil itself out. The more you surrender to it as a birth, the more the mother surrenders to getting underneath it, allowing the relaxing. The more you do that with your spiritual birth, the easier your birth will be too. The less epidurals you will need, psychic epidurals, the more you surrender to the birth. Yeah. Let me just take a look. We'll talk about the blue sun some other time. That's a good topic. Which, yeah, I've always felt close to that, and I use it as my Facebook thing. I've done that for a number of years. All right, much love. Remember, I am the tree of life. On the in-breath, you can feel it go up into the branches, or your brain is sort of the branches coming on the top of the spinal column. The spinal column is the trunk. On the out-breath, I'm downloading in through the trunk, out my sciatic nerves, and down from the tailbone. These are the taproot from your tailbone, and down the sciatic nerves, the main roots that go into the earth. The tree of life. I am a tree of life. This is very sort of scientific spirituality, the tree of life teachings, not the Kabbalah tree of life, but I'm talking about the actual spinal column and the actual brain colossum and the big sciatic and taproot nerves that go down into the earth. If you start becoming aware of this, it's because the nerves feed the whole thing, don't they? Here's spirit, here's thought, consciousness, creates a blueprint. That blueprint coalesces into an etheric blueprint and a physical thing like nerves. They are disseminators, channels of massive amounts of consciousness energy that create. So if you get in touch with the nervous system on the consciousness and physical level and feel yourself as that tree of life breathing itself, it's a very powerful archetype. It's a very powerful physical, i.e., therefore real process. I am going to at some point try to do the tree of life video as well. All right, much love. Time went fast. Next Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, same bat channel. Thank you very much for participating. I see about 100 of you this time, and it'll automatically hopefully record on YouTube as well. So you never have to catch it. You don't have to rush here. The live thing is kind of interesting. And then I'm going to, and I appreciate your questions today. Yes, thank you very much. And I'll get better at it as well. All right. Much love. And I appreciate this. It's my love. It's what I want to do. I want to share this so I can get the hell out of here. No, it's not true at all. I want to share this so I can get in here and have a good time and fulfill my enjoyment as the full spectrum human and do the things that I came to do. All right. Much love. See you next time.